To another edition of the Coach Ernie Willingham Show. We're here on campus at Collinsville, and for those of you guys out there who are needing any kind of heating and cooling, please contact Arnold Heating and Cooling and let Trevor Arnold come out and give you guys a quote. If you're having trouble with your current unit, let him come out and take a look at it and possibly get you in something new or fix what you have. And you like to refer to him as T-Fur around here.
He's a good one. Boy, one of my favorites. He's a really good football player.
Hey, he's a honey badger.
I'm telling you, he can play. People would think because he's small he couldn't play, but he played big.
Hey, I seen him several times knocking dudes. Like I'm talking about going in at the knees and just flipping.
Hey, he's my favorite too. He plays so hard.
Yeah.
Like that's what we try to preach around here. You got to play. Obviously, we don't have enough athletes all the time in a small school, and we talk about playing hard, practicing hard, and buying in, doing the right thing. And he's as good as that example of that as we can have.
That's right. He didn't let his size hold him.
No, he did not.
No excuses. Yeah, check him out. Arnold Heating and Cooling on Facebook. You can find him. And if you need any contact information, contact me. I'll give you the young man's phone number yourself. Good young man, and let him take care of you this time of year when it's getting cold in the mornings and hot in the evenings. You definitely need to make sure your house is taken care of. Coach, last week you played a familiar opponent, Coach Beckett, who one-time coach here years ago, and it's been to Gadsden City and Cedar Bluff and several other places. But you guys are friends, and you knew coming in, anytime you play against one of his teams, they're going to be coached really well, and the things that he brings to the table formation-wise. But you guys executed and got a 47-0 victory and was up 40-0 at halftime. Take us back to last Friday and how that all transpired.
Well, Coach Beckett, he does a really good job. I came here twice. First time I came here in 1998, his daddy was coaching for me. I followed the older Coach Beckett. And then the next time I left and came back, when I came back, I followed the younger Coach Beckett. So I followed Beckett 2 times here, and both those 2 times, there was nothing broke when I got back. They were both really good coaches, and the same thing with him over at Gaston. If they'll give him time, he had some players that left before he got back, so he was a little bit down because of that. But he's going to right the ship. But we stuffed them pretty good on defense. They wasn't moving the ball hardly, and we got a short field a time or two, and we didn't pass it much. I think Mason was 6 out of 6 in the first half. The stats say 6 out of 8, but he was 6 out of 6 for 180 yards, and a couple of touchdowns, and we didn't throw it much. And then my new little running back, Quintavious Rogers, he ran it 7 times and scored 4 touchdowns. So he scored all in the first quarter.
4 touchdowns on 7 carries.
And he just ran the first quarter, and we took him out. But he's really explosive. And I thought the core, obviously the line did a good job, and the line has done a good job pass blocking all year. Even we got beat pretty good by Pittsburgh, and some of those other guys. But our offensive line, as far as pass blocking, Mason hadn't got his pants dirty much back there throwing. So we had a good time, but we've had trouble pushing people around a little bit, running the ball, but. And hopefully we're straightening some of that out. The offensive line's still working hard, and we've still got plenty of stuff. Even winning like we did the last couple of weeks, we still found plenty of stuff we need to work on. And we've still got some people out, get some people back. We're getting Travis Ledford back this week. He's been out the whole year with a broke collarbone, and I'm expecting some pretty good things out of him. Maybe he'll step in and be one of the little bit more physical guys we need.
Yeah, you mentioned Pisgah maybe pushing you around, but that ain't nothing to hold your head about. They proved that to the state last week.
They really didn't push us around as much offensively. They were hurting us a bit. So they talk about the score, but you get off people for different reasons, and they didn't pull much, but they didn't need to pull. Yeah. They were hurt. We weren't hurting us, and we were blocking them, and we moved the ball around. They were just explosive. They just made some big plays and some big catches, but maybe we got some of that straightened out.
Yeah. After what transpired last Friday night, it's nothing to hold your head about, man. But now, this week, you play your good friend, Paul Benefield, and 5 Red Devils will be coming to town. Before we dive into that game, a lot of people may or may not know this, but I remember back when I was doing Coach's Show before, you guys actually rode to the playoff meetings together. That's how close the friends you
Coach
are.
Benfield's been a friend of mine since we were in high school.
That's awesome.
And his kids hunted at our place sometimes, and we ride back and forth to the meetings, and I call him on the phone, or he calls me. We talk a little bit and that kind of stuff. But he's the real deal.
Yeah.
If I's the real deal, and we know that. And we know we got our hands full, and we're going to have to block them and tackle them and that kind of stuff. And as far as athlete for athlete, we can run around with them and that kind of stuff. We just got to match their intensity, and we got to get between our ears a little bit at our head that we can play with them and not let their reputation precede them. And we can't come out intimidated to start with. We got to come out and we got to get after them and from the opening kick and hopefully that's what we're going to do. That's what we're preaching. Today's Monday. We haven't started yet. We've had meetings and we've got a plan, and we think we can do some things, and we'll see.
When you play, and I've heard tons of coaches across the state say this, that never plays them. There's always one that never plays them. They say, well, they're just running the ball. And I don't understand. But explain to people.
I will explain to people.
Because people don't understand.
I was at a coaching clinic down in Tuscaloosa. There was a guy behind me. Benefield was speaking. This guy behind me talking about that stuff. And I turned around. I straightened him out real fast. Benefield, it looks like they're in the same play, but they've got different blocking schemes, and they pull different people. And sometimes they pull the guard and the tackle. Sometimes they pull the tight end and the wing. And that stuff is designed. It looks like the same play, and you think the back just cut it up, but they're blocking it different. They're running up in there and they'll cross block sometimes, and they do all kinds of little stuff. And in 2018, 2019, they couldn't just blow us around. We had some pretty big linemen, and we could hang our own in there. And he got to go a little deeper in his playbook, and he's got some stuff that people don't see. And he ran in 18. He ran a little wheel route with the older Anderson kid, the one that played at Auburn. He ran a little wheel route and scored on that. He beat us with that down here. And I had a good player over there at corner, and he got us with that, to score. And then we played them at their place the first time we played them at their place in 2019. We played them twice that year. That's only 2 games we lost that year. They beat us twice that year, but the first time they ran a couple. They split the little kid out. That's the fastest player at UAB now. What's his name? Rao. They split him out. He wasn't the quarterback. They had the other little quarterback that went.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, that's at Georgia Tech. That's the quarterback. And they split Rao been in the backfield. They split him out, so they got us deep one time. And then they ran a little follow route, the neatest little route like nobody else has ever. I've been coaching since 1983, and nobody's ever run that. I've seen it run on TV and stuff. They ran a receiver through the middle and drew our linebacker, split our linebackers out, and they followed him straight 10 yards behind him with another receiver. Mm-hmm. And they wouldn't have scored. That's 2 touchdowns. They wouldn't have scored. And they beat us 2 touchdowns. That first time, they beat us 2 touchdowns. And they would not have scored. We were stopping and running the ball at that particular time. And, making a punt, and they turned it over a time or two, and we're playing with him. But my point being, his offensive playbook is a lot better than people think it is. He don't just run 3 plays and 2 passes.
Yeah, that's what people think.
Well, he does against most people. He doesn't have to do anything else.
Well,
you gotta make him do something else.
Yeah, you gotta tell these people once you schedule them.
Yeah, well, I told him that. I play him every year. I play him every year. Even before we had to play him, we played him.
That's right.
We played him in jamborees, and nobody would play him. And we'd play him in the spring jamboree, we'd play him in the fall jamboree, even when they wasn't on our schedule. And then we got where we got them on our schedule. They got in our region then, and they followed us around. We were 2A, and they were 2A. We went up to 3A. They bumped up to 3A.
That's right. This
time we moved back down to 2A. They're moving back down again. The next time we're going back up to 3A, and they're not sure. They may not go back up this time. We'll definitely be 3A the next time.
Really?
Well, 100%. Well, we got a big class we got to count, but they don't have that big class, so they're right on the border. We're not on the border. We're like 30 people over. We're going to be way in 3A. But this next time because of that big class, but they're right still right on the border. They may stay 2A, so we may get out of the region with them. Which won't? Yeah,
you're still playing, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, if we can.
Yeah.
But now we got all those other right.
Now, how hard is it to coach against the helmet and the look and the mystique? Especially for some of you, you're such a young team.
That's not necessarily the only thing. I mean, they're really good. But you go in and for example, last year we went in and we fumbled the kickoff.
Kickoff.
Keaton fumbles the opening kickoff. Really good player, but he just got ripped. It wasn't anything. He didn't just drop it. They hit him. Another guy ripped it, and they got it. And they scored just like that. And then we're 3 and out. And they bust a big one. You know, so they're ahead of us 14-0, and there's like 10 minutes to go in the first quarter. You know, down 2 scores, and that's how young kids we had. Those guys, some of our eighth graders last year playing, and they got on us a little bit.
Yeah,
after that, but that
a lot of times people
psychological thing.
Not necessarily here at Collinsville, but I've seen teams before when they get off the bus, people's like, oh, you know, there's 5. You know, sometimes, especially with younger kids, because they've known them for winning so much.
Hopefully, you know, we're familiar with them. Hopefully, we're familiar with them enough to know that they're just. I mean, they're people. They're really. They got really good players. Yeah. You know, but we've got some really good players. So you know, we've got to match their physicality. You know, we got to be able to block them and tackle them, and it always comes down to that football anyway. But you know, some people you can just outrun. You know, we got a lot of speed, but we can't outrun them. They're fast too. They're faster. They don't get credit for being as fast as they are, but those kids are fast too. They're not as big and strong.
They can move.
Yeah, they are. But you know, we know what we got to do. We got to take care of the ball, and you know, and we know that we've got to put some points on the board because they're going to score some. What they do, they're good at it. You know, hard to get the ball away from, and they take care of the ball. So, you know, we're just going to have to try to get them behind the chains if we can, and get them off the field as much as we can.
First down's important.
Yeah. Get them behind the chains if you possibly can, and then if you know, get them off the field, and when you get them off the field, we got to turn that into points.
How important is it to keep Mason upright in this one and give him some good pockets and some lanes to throw in?
No, we're not going. We can't just sit back there and throw it and pick them apart. Obviously, he's going to send some people. I mean, he's got all kinds of pretty little stunts and stuff. We talked about offense a while ago, but he'll twist the defensive end all the way back to the middle, and you know, and he's got that Wilkes kid who's he's a man child, and you know, that kind of thing. But you know, we'll have to double him some. Have to double team him some, and you know, we got to keep him upright. We got to be able to run the ball to where we can get with that. Not just pass. We can't be just line up and throw it. We'll have to try to be as balanced as we can and run it some, and obviously keeping him upright. And players being on the same page, players running the same route. We're gonna have some open receivers. That's right. You know, you can't cover everybody on every play. We just got to hit them, and you know, maybe somebody make a play when they get it.
You got to have your crowd here too, Coach.
Yeah, home field is big again, and Pisgah beat us here. They brought a big crowd too. We were all juiced up. That didn't have anything to do with it. We just made some mistakes out there when they did. But you know, we get all our folks here and get our players really juiced up and fired up, and you know, play as hard as we can, and just see what happens.
Yeah, that's the good thing about Collinsville. I mean, it don't matter who you guys are playing, you're going to show up. But in games like this, the bigger game, they really show up.
Well, our fans are behind us. You know, the community's behind us, the school's behind us, the administration. We're all pulling. All the sports are together. You know, some people talk about they do this and they do that, but all our boys work out together.
That's good.
All our girls work out together. Every sport. We have basketball, baseball, football players, and the softball, volleyball, basketball girls. They all work out together.
That's good.
You know, and then we've only got one athletic club. You know, all the parents are together in that. You know, they divvy out money as they need it to all the sports. But that being said, that's because our community is so much together.
That's right. You know, Coach, I remember we actually talked about this the other weekend when we did the 100 years of Collinsville football video with you guys. Mm-hmm. How special that was. But over the years, man, you've had some great games with Fife and great rivalries. What's some of your favorite games with Fife over the years? You may have played in some.
I played some really good games. I played against Benefield.
That's awesome.
I think Benefield was a senior when I was a 10th grader, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha.
I remember tackling Ben. Benefield caught one out of the backfield one time. I was playing corner. I remember picking him up a little bit. I just remember that one. But when we played, when I was playing also, Benefield already graduated then. My senior year, we had 5B down here at our place, and we were ahead with about 2 minutes to go, and they went about 80 yards on us. And we had
Householder there then.
Householder was there then. Yeah, Householder was there then, and they went about 80 yards and scored to beat us. So, you know, we've had some good games over the years, and I can't think. Well, we had them here, and I think it was 2018. We were ahead of them 10-0, and we kicked field goal the first time. Then we scored a touchdown the second time. We set up 10-0, and we kicked off. We had a kick. Jason Perez was kicking, and he'd been kicking in the end zone. So we're gonna kick it in the end zone, and he don't quite get it, and the Anderson kid that played at Auburn caught it on the 6-inch line, and he took it back 99 yards, 2 feet, whatever that makes, 6 inches. He took it all the way back, and they wound up beating us a touchdown or so.
Over 99 yards and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in high school,
yeah,
if it goes in, it's dead.
Yeah. So
I remember
that was a big game.
I remember the 19 game and the 19 season. I remember y'all was winning Ohatchee. That was special that year. That was a really good.
That could have been one of the best games I ever been involved in. They had a really good team. We had to play good. We played as good and as hard as any team I've ever had. We didn't make many mistakes, and they didn't make any mistakes.
Both of y'all look like the walking wounded. Yeah. Y'all let that.
Well, that cost us a real good shot at 5.
Yeah.
2 weeks later because Caleb never did. Caleb got hurt, and he was about 50% against North Sand Mountain the next week. And we like lost to them. They were good too.
Yeah.
We like to lost to them at our place the next week.
I remember he got an interception.
He got an interception. They took it right to him. He stepped away. They took it right to him because he read what they were doing. He stepped in front of a post route.
Gotcha.
And caught it, carried it back.
I remember.
Pick 6. That put us up by 2 scores.
That's right.
And that put it away in the fourth quarter. But that's a good game.
That was a special time in 19. I remember I went to all those games. It's very, very good. I remember Buddy Ford used to be with Average Joe's, telling me that is the best high school football game he's ever sat through that. Years in Ohatchee. Dominic's still carrying it for Clemson.
No, I'm telling you, he's a good player. He was a good player. And the opening play, after I tell you a series of plays right here, the opening play, they gave it to him off tackle. And Caleb played safety for us, and he came up and he lit him up. It sounded like a stick of dynamite. Sounded like a stick of dynamite went off. And he was down for a little bit. He got up, and he's doing this right here. And the Ohatchee kid, Dominique, yeah. He's doing that. And one of my coaches on the headset said, he's wanting out. And I looked after I could see him. I said, no, he wants the ball. He wants the ball. And they gave it to him again, and he looked Caleb up this time. And it was like that all night. Yeah. It was like that all night. He broke through a little bit. He went down, but Caleb was on the bottom of that time.
That's what high school football's like.
I'm telling you, that was a good game.
I love it. Well, Coach, we're gonna shut this one down. And is anything that anybody needs to know special about this game? Any kind of start times, parking, anything, or
everything's just like business as usual, and we just hope we can come out and match them. We got to match their intensity. They're intense, and they do what they do, and we know what they're going to do, and we're familiar with them, but we just got to match their intensity and see if we can get something done.
Good one, Coach. Well, we'll see you here next week, God willing, with another edition of the Coach Ernie Willingham Show. Thank you guys for watching.